made you decide to start a band? Because you didn't start till much later. Right?
I saw the New York Dolls. Me and Tommy and Dee would go out, and I saw Johnny Thunders at a club. I thought, wow, this guy looks really cool. And Tommy would go, oh, no, the band is terrible, the worst. I go, no, this guy looks too cool. He has to have something here. I went to see the band. I thought they were really good, really entertaining. I thought, you know, I could do that too. And then all of a sudden I saw Slade right after that, and I thought, whoa, these guys just blew me away. This is tremendous. I probably couldn't be as good as this, but I think I'd be as good as the New York Dolls. And Tommy kept saying, you and Dee should start a band. For 2 years, he kept telling me and Dee to start a band. And then all of a sudden one day I lost my job at work, and I thought, okay, I'm gonna start a band now. And that would have been January '74.
And did you play instruments?
No, I didn't play. But Tommy kept saying, it didn't matter, you'll be good. You know.
So what did you do?
He knew. So me and Dee started a band, and we get Joey into it, and then eventually we had Tommy.
So what you did? You just picked up the guitar?
Picked up the guitar and started to play, and we changed different combinations. First it was me and Dee both playing guitar, and then I made Dee the bass player. I made him the bass player. Joey was the drummer. Tommy suggested making Joey the singer because he wasn't very good at drums. And then Tommy was a guitar player, and then we eventually made him the drummer. So I found the right combination.
And did you all kind of agree on the kind of music you were going to do? Or?
We just sat down. We didn't know how to play anyone else's songs because we was learning how to play. I put some records on. We were going to play like Yummy Yummy and things like that. And I don't know how to play this. We better write a song that we can play. And we sat down and wrote the first song the first day. And then each day we'd write songs. That became easy.
Right, basically stuff you could do.
Basically stuff we can do. Play within our limits, within our limitations, so that it didn't. So the early incompetence wouldn't show. We'd play, keep our songs simple.
Right, and it's funny. That's what got you over in a way. That's what made people realize.
Yeah.
You cut it to the core. You said, this is rock and roll, cut to the bone.
Right.
You know?
And rock and roll was always supposed to be about it was always about the songs and an image. And an energy, and that's what rock and roll, the early days of rock and roll was always about, and that's what first attracted me to when you first see the Beatles and you first see the Stones and all those bands.
So was CBGBs already happening at that time? Or how did you find out about it?
We started seeing some ads, I think television. Dee knew some Tom Verlaine or Richard Lloyd in television, and they were playing at a place, CBGBs, and there was really no other bands. There was no bands playing original material. So I think we went down there, or we spoke to television, and we got a job one of the nights, at CBGB's. It's just a little dumpy little bar on the Bowery. No one going to it. We played our show, first show, and I think there was 2 people in the audience. And
what was that show? How did you perform, you think?
Oh, I have clips of. I have a film of the 3rd show. So embarrassing to look at because I know how we are 3 months later, but it was we're doing the songs, we're doing the first album stuff, and the image wasn't quite there yet. We refined it as we looked at the videos and we started watching ourselves back. We corrected the problems.
And what was the audience reaction?
The audience, 2 people. Alan Vega from Suicide was one of the 2 people. He comes over to me and Dee and says, "You guys are great. This is like the first show. You guys are great. This is what I've been waiting for." And I go, Dee, this guy's nuts. If we can fool this guy, maybe we can fool a bunch more people, into thinking we're good. So then I started realizing maybe we can start fooling everyone. So.
That when you got the idea, like, okay, we got to get an image and we got to work on that, or?
I was always aware of the image. I mean, I had to watch it back though to make the corrections. I mean, we knew, we were coming out of the glitter period, and we knew glitter was still at its full thing in New York, but we knew that this wasn't going to catch on in the Midwest because not everyone's going to look great in glitter, spandex, and things like that, and So we knew there was a problem, and then we just trying to figure out what's going to look right, and between me and Dee and Tommy, we discussed the image, and we realized. Sneakers were built for speed. We're going to wear sneakers, and then I'd wear my leather jacket in the daytime, and I think we evolved into the jeans and the leather jacket, and just within a month or so or two into us playing, you know, it evolved.
Cool.
And then we refined it. As soon as we saw the videotape back, then we could say, all right, this is wrong, and let's make the changes.
Who was doing the taping?
Somebody we played with a theater group, and somebody in the theater group said, can I film you guys? You can have the tape, I just want to film it, you know, because you guys, there's something here. And yeah, sure. Filmed it, gave us the tape, and then we watched back the video. Well, it really started to click in the summer of '75 with the CBGB's Rock Festival that they had that was covered by Rolling Stone magazine. And that's when it really kicked in. That's when now the place is getting packed. Now it's getting full. Rolling Stone covers it. Most of the articles, one-page article, most of the articles on the Ramones. And then Talking Heads, and then the other bands were just casually mentioned, you know.
But, you know, when you were playing there, did you look around and say, I like these guys, I don't like these guys? Were they
Oh yeah, I'd review everyone, you know, where our competition lied. You know, the Heartbreakers was the only other band that I looked upon as, these guys are really good, but they're a bunch of junkies, so I don't have to worry about them. Their careers are going to be short, you know. That was the only band I was concerned about. That was the next best band. Yeah. Talking Heads were doing something totally different, so it was like, you know, didn't concern me. It wasn't really rock and roll. It was something else, you know. And Blondie was just a lightweight pop band, and no one really cared about them at all. There was like an opening act. They become big later on, but at the time, and the other bands were just, you know. And most of the other bands were a joke to me. The other guys would go out. I would show up, play the show, leave, and I never hung out. To me, it was always. It seemed like a waste of time to sit in a bar every night, talking to the same people and drinking. I don't drink. You know, I have one beer. I don't want to hang out. I'd rather go home, watch movies.
Well, they mentioned something about like the Fabulous 50 or Fabulous 500. It was like the same group of people going to the shows all the time,
right,
doing this scene.
Right.
And, you know, that's all they were doing.
Right.
That's all they were doing.
Yeah, when we started, and once we started getting a little popular, then we ain't letting no one in. No one's getting in. We have someone at the door. We're collecting the money. We're not going to be cheated by anyone. We raise the price each. You know, we go to $3, then we go to $4, then we go to $5. It was a business. The first album comes out, and we really can't find jobs anywhere. But LA was interested. It's always with a lot of acts throughout the ages. I know the Rolling Stones, when they did their first tour in '64, they did well in New York. They did well in LA. The rest of the country, they bombed. I think the New York Dolls would come out to LA. So we knew our stronghold was going to be going to London and going to LA, you know.
So where did you play when you went to LA?
I think we did the Roxy. That's what we did. We did the Roxy. We did 2 nights at the Roxy. We did 2 nights at the Starwood. That was the first trip to LA. I think that was in '76. I remember it was a bootleg record off of that. It was a radio broadcast. That's always good for bootlegs. And the next time through, I think we did like a week at the Whiskey or something, you know.
And what was the reaction from the LA crowds?
Oh, great. You know, yeah, great. I mean,
were they shocked? I mean, they were like.
Well, I don't remember so much the Roxy and Starwood show, but I remember the Whiskey show by the following year, and it's like, you know, yelling, you know, girls like screaming.
If you can just get into that a little bit, like playing the Whiskey and the crowd going crazy, and, you know.
Yeah, it's so long ago. You know. We were used to playing shows, and everyone just sat there and not knowing how to react. You know, reactions got crazy as time went on, but in the beginning, people just sat there in this in amazement, and you know, and I don't, you know, looking back, I don't know why, but you know, that's the reaction was. You know, you're never sure if they were liking it. No one would do anything.
That's funny.
I remember playing Detroit, the whole crowd just sat there and. No one clapped, no one did nothing, and they
it's like the scene in Springtime for Hitler when they
yeah,
hit the
right.
Reeses, right,
and then the one person claps and everybody hits them. They sat there, and I thought, oh God, the Olga's going to walk out because we had to do 2 shows, and they all just sat there and waited for an hour for the next show, and they sat there and watched the whole show again, you know. So
well, you know, it's interesting talking to you, seeing how you know sculpted the sound. It wasn't just something that happened. So the kind of music and the length of the music, was there a conscious thing to keeping the songs short?
Oh yeah. Well, since we played fast, they were basically regular songs. They would, because we're playing them a little fast, instead of 2.5 minutes, they'd come in at 2 minutes. They'd have their choruses and the right amount of verses, and in most cases a bridge, and so they're structured like regular songs, just playing fast, so they get a little short. I had seen the Beatles at Shea Stadium in '65, I believe, '65 or '66, and they had played a half-hour show. So I figured, all right, if the Beatles played a half-hour at Shea Stadium, the Ramones should only be playing for about 15 minutes, So we kept the set at about 15 minutes then, So I based it on that.
That's a pretty good value. If they get a half hour, you should get 15 minutes.
Yeah, and I always thought, I don't know why bands, especially opening bands, why they'd want to play longer than they have to. They always want to fight for more time. You're always better off playing shorter.
Yeah, let them want more.
You get all your best material, you leave them wanting more if you're actually any good, and you don't fill up overdo it with mediocre material. And most bands only have a song or two that's worthy anyway. So.
But it's true. A lot of times you go see an opening band and you get into one or two songs, and then all of a sudden it's like, okay, one of these guys off.
Yeah, well, even big bands. I mean, everyone should play, an hour. No one should play more than an hour.
Yeah, an hour is definitely definitely enough.
People have other things to do. I mean, let them be entertained for an hour and go do something else.
Well, there's something to be said for putting your best stuff out there.
Yeah. Well, you really didn't have that many bands. It's not like now. It's flooded with. You open the LA Weekly, and it's just a million clubs and bands all over the place. And then you got signed. You went on tour with a major group. There was no clubs to play original material. Clubs were basically for cover bands. So to play original material in a club was a whole new thing. So no place existed. So right now we have CBGBs, just a dumpy little bar, but we have television, we have Patti Smith, we have the Ramones, and then within the year you have Talking Heads, you have the Heartbreakers. Well, the Dolls are still playing, but they're falling apart. But there's only a handful of bands, and then once there's a scene starts developing and people are going to see bands, then they start bands. We go to towns throughout the country, and there'll be no bands, and as we leave each town, bands would form.
So
Where kids would see, hey, maybe I can do that too, and then all of a sudden you have bands form. And that's how it was everywhere the Ramones went. We'd go to the littlest towns and play the littlest places, and bands would form.
So you're pretty much happy with the body of work that you did? With all the songs you did, the sound and
Well, I listen to albums, and all I hear is the songs I don't like. I wish they could have all been good.
But you understand that you had a huge impact. That it's not just.
I got to realize that. I was been told that. At the time, I never thought about this at all until the '90s came in, and all of a sudden bands started. We were so in our own world. Bands started telling me this in the '90s. We started playing with Soundgarden and Pearl Jam and Rob Zombie and just other people. I started hearing this all the time.
You were like the Beatles to a lot of these.
I realized that we might be a bigger influence on more bands than anybody, and that's weird, because if I start breaking it down into what bands are big influences, some of the best bands, to me, the greatest American bands, besides us and Beach Boys and Doors probably weren't really a big influence on anybody, they're a great band. Zeppelin is a big influence on a lot of people. I don't know how big of an influence the Who are. They're a great band.
You were a Doors fan? You like
Yeah, Doors are my favorite.
I just spent the morning with Ray Manzarek. He's the host of the show.
Yeah, my favorite American band.
Yeah.
I think the Ramones and the Doors, and then probably the Beach Boys. Because the Beach Boys, strange. They're a great group, a lot of great songs, but. Their best album is Pet Sounds, which doesn't sound like the Beach Boys. They really basically don't play on their records. The good albums, which is the Beach Boys sound, aren't very good albums. The early stuff isn't very good albums. There's some good songs here and there.
It's the song. I think it goes back to what you said. Rock and roll is about good songs.
Yeah, but it'd be 2 or 3 good songs, and the rest of the songs would be not good. So I realized, I realized the impact that we probably had more of an influence on more people starting bands and doing things than maybe anyone.
Yeah, especially that
weird.
whole '90s generation worth of bands. Those
Yeah,
bands
yeah. It started somehow in the mid '80s bands and just picked up from that point on.
almost had